So I was home alone the other day
Uh-huh.
and I drew myself a bath.
Hmm.
And I almost died of fright when I got in and felt a cold tap on my shoulder.
Whoa. Oh!
Got him.
What level of it?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. We want to talk to you guys a little bit about the concept of humor in general. As a philosophical concept, it's not often taken all that seriously. There's a couple of things that fit into this category. There's not a good theory of it because it's not considered important. You have pretty good theories of mortality and the universe and gods, and at every level you have some sort of basis of understanding philosophical concepts. Humor is kind of not treated as much, I would say. It's not really broken down as much. And yet it exists, it seems to exist at every level of the mind. I would also place cuteness in this category. The idea of cuteness, just for a thing to be funny or cute, that these properties could be so common to nature. And we seem to be unique in noticing them and celebrating them and communicating them. Highly subjective as well.
Based on I don't know, I suppose your life experiences, what gets you right in the craw, what tickles that funny bone of yours is really up to you.
I think about Joshin, and I think it's disruptive. I think that's a key to it. It's disruptive. You have
A
some sort
pattern
of
interrupt
pattern.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, you're expecting something and something else happens that makes your former expectation silly. But silly is just a way of masking the comedy because silly is another like what the hell does silly mean? Well, it's supposed to be one way, but it's sort of another way. It's sort of janky, silly,
Unexpected.
off. So strangeness is also kind of funny in a way. It's sort of weirdness, strangeness,
Unexpected pattern interruption.
absurd to sort of unexpected. Yeah. And then we laugh. We go ha ha ha, and we rapidly what is that? Ha! You're like rapidly
Aspirate?
flexing your yeah, rapidly aspirating, flexing your diaphragm. Ha ha ha. What does that do? So it makes us happier, it seems to. It causes our brain to feel happier and more socially connected.
Our brain is releasing endorphins. Is that aided by the physical shaking?
Like it's actually getting us riled up.
Are
Like,
you are
okay,
you laughing to increase your heart rate to spread the endorphins faster?
isn't that weird? And crying has a similar thing with the heaving, heaving, heaving. It's really slower, but like it has
Well,
that
the
heaving thing.
I don't know what stupid movie I just watched recently, but it did talk about the chemical makeup of tears being
Oh
different
boy.
from sadness to happiness. If you're laughing so
Whoa.
hard you're crying, your tears are actually have a different chemical makeup than if you're so sad you're crying. They're different.
I could taste that. I could taste that
On you can
difference.
taste my tears.
The happy tears are of a different chemical makeup than the sad tears.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Science.
We could get a
Of
whole
course I
different
saw it on a
recipe.
movie, so I immediately looked it up
Okay.
and ignored the movie. Yeah, there's some truth behind
There's
that.
some research on that. Rapid release, I guess, rapid emotional release. The intense emotion of humor is can like when you laugh so hard you can cry. And
Mhm.
also, I find when I cry a lot, I end up laughing too. Like it ends up kind of being funny how hard I'm crying or something like it's a silly
Okay.
thing to be crying in the first place. It's just kind of funny. Puking's a little bit like that too, where this whole thing happens with your breathing
There's some
and
endorphins. Pro tip from an ex-alcoholic. If you're going to go to the bathroom at a bar and take a puke, the best thing you can do is plug your nose while you're puking. Then you get none of that up into your sinus cavities.
That's smart. That's smart.
Oh,
That's
indeed,
and that's
indeed. That took years of research. Sometimes, you're on a binge and your stomach's full. You just got to go take a puke.
we like laughing, but
It's not
is this a
necessary.
yeah, so I think about okay, why do we suppress it now? Like we get okay, stop goofing around, be serious, you know. And so this is sort of the ego, this is sort of adulthood. Quit goofing around, quit playing around, quit being playful with me, get to the point.
I
Be
would actually
serious.
think that if you are in that sort of euphoric state, your imagination and your creativity are flowing more more fluidly than when you're being serious. And so if you're trying to learn something or really trying to do something that requires focus and you're laughing, your mind is everywhere but where it needs to be.
Yep. It seems to be related to the intuiting cognitive function, the sort of creative, impulsive part of ourselves that's ever seeking random connections to things. And that's again the what makes the thing funny is often disruptiveness. In order to really dial in on certain things and get programs finished, comedy is disruptive. So it's sort of like spiciness. It's not good, it's not bad. You want it sometimes, you don't want it sometimes. Some people love it, some people hate it. I guess I have always thought of humor as a positive thing that you have to sacrifice sometimes. The seriousness is a necessity, and humor is sort of the baseline. Like humor is kind of like, oh, we'd all be like kind of in a humorous tone if it were acceptable, like if we could get away with that. Seems to be, but I'm a goofball, like I'm a jokey kind of character. So
Same.
could be a type thing. And then to that type, this sort of like goofing around all the time is like obnoxious. And that seems to exist at like every level. You know, there's kind of serious and less serious types.
Become sleep deprived. Everything is funny.
In bouts, and it goes from being completely not,
Numbness.
and then it's like really funny.
And
Yeah, you do get a little.
the dumbest thing is it'll have you laughing for 30 minutes.
Yeah, so much of it is a state thing. You know, it's you can kind of try and break down the mechanics of it and the literal aspects of it, but a lot of it is it's, you know, delivery. It's a state. It's like I have this, I communicate it, you see it, you get it too. Communicating a state.
Infants cry to communicate because they can't verbally communicate. Maybe they were taught some sign language, but they can't communicate. And so they cry to communicate that they need something. Who the hell cares if they're happy at a scientific level?
And they do giggle.
Why do you need to communicate happiness?
Why are they giggling? What's with that? Yeah,
Laughing and
why
smiling. Also, humans are like everything else. If they bare their teeth, they're fucking pissed. Humans, yeah,
Yeah, we
our
got
smiles, we show
smiling.
our teeth. That's not normal in like
Yeah.
the mammalian world.
Like, look, these aren't very sharp.
Hmm.
The child, in the relationship with the parent, I maybe we're expressing, you know, we're expressing pleasure, just like I'm satisfied. This is great. To say like, okay, keep doing
You
that.
can ignore me now
We
as an
giggle. Yeah,
animal.
ignore me. I'm giggling. And even in higher animals, you know, playfulness is observed for sure. And even lower animals, you know, you might see some playfulness, like just
Oh
kind
yeah,
of doing weird shit to pass the time. And
zoomies.
sometimes there's a survival function to that. That might be for their physical fitness and it might be for their social grouping if we're looking at it scientifically, but also from their perspective, they're just goofing around. They're just having a time. So it seems to come with us, you know, the whole way. It's humor or silliness. Like it really is like a part of mind. And I would characterize the infant joke as peekaboo. It's
Hmm.
just like I'm not
Yeah,
here.
they have no
But I
concept of
am.
they have no concept of permanence. So when you're gone, you're truly not existing anymore. And then you're all of a sudden back into existence. This pleases me.
So there's a couple sort of universal jokes. I mean, disruptiveness of an unexpected nature is pretty universal. Things being
Wit.
inappropriately sized or, you know, inappropriate
Hmm.
anything, you know. Prior to even having like a sense of appropriateness, I've always felt like farting is pretty universal. I imagine cave people sitting around a fire and one of them, some old lady blows ass and everybody like I imagine was funny. A baby will fart and go, "Huh, what was that?" and it'll make it giggle. I think farting's pretty universal.
I mean, I wanted to keep a straight face, but just thinking about farting, it's kind of funny.
My
Thinking
bottom
about
made a
like
song.
a dog that's asleep and then it farts itself awake and looks at its butthole, like what the hell just happened?
When your bottom has a song, it's like it's because you're not. We normally talk with our mouth, but we're talking with our excretory orifice, and it stinks, which is also
I
funny.
think that's why it's inappropriate. If it didn't smell like anything, no one would care ever, and it wouldn't be funny.
It exposes intimate facts about you that you didn't want to reveal.
It's the olfactory curse that you just cast.
Ah, yeah, and the nose is like the most like powerful emotional center, like as far as sensory.
It's kind of part of slapstick as well. Like you find humor in the suffering of someone else. And so a fart is funny because
Aha.
here we go, it's gonna stink and you did it. The sound is the pattern interrupt. And then the continual funny is the who smelt it, dealt it part. Like you're gonna smell this.
So, okay, the fart, it seems to go back maybe to infrared, maybe. Physical crap that our body does that ends up being funny because we didn't expect it.
Whatever right now smells like or sounds like doesn't matter. I don't believe so. Picture it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
We're out hunting and everyone is really quiet because there's a giant sloth that we're going to feast on for weeks. And someone farts. That's not funny. You're pissed
That's
off.
disruptive. Yeah. There's levels of humor to the fart itself. And yeah, so in the case where it is just a casual situation, someone farts on accident, that would might be funny at infrared.
Mm,
But it's not like amber where it's extremely inappropriate to fart at church or whatever, and so
mm.
people would be uncontrollably laughing because it's so inappropriate for that to happen. So yeah, levels to the fart too. We could place it everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's humiliating. I feel like the magenta now going into kind of proto-linguistic and base linguistic skills, it's got to be dad jokes. It's got to be very simple puns and like, haha, like there and there are the same word, but they're different. Or like pointing at sheep and calling them chickens. It's just the wrong word for it, and
That's
that's
just
funny.
absurd.
Why did the chicken cross the road? I'm expecting an answer to get to the other side because that's literally true. It that might
That's
be
literally true.
might be magenta. The I think puns might be kind of magenta. Puns and dad jokes. And that's why they come out in the subtle content as well. So it's pretty basic to
A horse
find
walks into
the
a bar
word.
and the bartender said, "Why the long face?"
So maybe magenta there. Maybe magenta there. There might be a little bit of amber as well there, family friendly material. No, I really like magenta though for puns. I think that's what's actually funny is that we expected the word to mean this thing and it doesn't.
I mean, we should have done any research at all before this. I would be curious to find out what like jokes in Pompeii would have been.
Mm-hmm.
What are jokes far enough in history that there is still record of things,
Mm-hmm.
but far enough back that literal meanings mean different things now.
Because, yeah, they don't have written, comedy records or anything. I think we can kind of look to the very little like extant magenta and assume things. And I think just like the strangeness of people, other people that aren't, like us, like our people, that strangeness, they don't seem to find it funny, actually.
There is actually quite a bit that you can learn about court jesters.
Hmm.
They're fairly well documented enough. Sleight of hand magicians,
Tumblers, jugglers.
acrobats, yeah, a little bit of like carnival fare. But then they were also a pretty well trusted advisor, and they weren't
Yeah.
beheaded as much as you would think they would be because they told it like it is. Whether the king or queen wanted to hear it or not, the court jester could say it, and without risk of beheading, where a trusted consort would say, we're going to lose this war. Well, you're dead, and we'll just replace you with somebody else. Where the jester would make a joke out of it, make it some
Yeah.
sort of lighthearted thing, but they're still telling the truth in an exaggerated sort of tone.
The fool can speak plainly and
Yeah,
they have no stake in the political thing. So they can be more like a friend, a trusted advisor in the sense of, oh, I'm just watching and I was just observing. And that could be
which
like a,
is if you look at effeminate and masculine groups together, individually, an effeminate group and a masculine group separately, the effeminate group's jokes, I have no idea because I identify more masculine. But the masculine group will belittle the shit out of each other, make fun of, like, make direct fun of things that are hurtful, and laugh at the most pain you've ever been in. And those are your best friends.
Hmm. And yeah, I think that's kind of moving into the red meme sort of humor is your it has to do with your role in relationship to others and
Hmm.
how silly that is or how trivial or things that you take seriously about yourself being nothing.
While sledding, someone broke their tailbone and everyone was
In
laughing at them.
earnest.
And
Yeah.
then walked home and got hot chocolate to return to the person still writhing, not to share the hot chocolate, but to continue laughing at them. Those are
The
best ones.
legend humor. Yeah, the legend humor. Like this was so crazy. This was so out of control. This was such a miserable misadventure. Outrageous, bullying, belittling, but of the self and of
Humiliating. Yeah,
others.
exactly.
Hopefully not in a sadistic way, but to be able to laugh at yourself is like healthy red meme appreciation, to be able to laugh with
Well,
people at
are
our
it
foibles.
stand-up comics that do crowd work in a sadistic way? Like
Oh hell yeah.
they're trying to dig into your most hurtful things to appease the rest of the audience. You're gonna hate it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, audience participation banter kind of stuff that
Hmm.
feels like it comes from a very like direct, impulsive red meme like response to a situation. And then slapstick also, same sort of thing though. It's funny because you tried to walk and you fell over. And
That's what I could
here,
see going
yeah.
infrared, where you're trying to strike the two stones together to get a fire going, and you just completely skin one thumb,
Oh
and
God.
you're writhing in pain while the rest of the tribe or rest of the group is laughing at your misfortune. The
Yeah,
cartoon where your thumb is red and pulsating. That's funny. That's slapstick.
so with the concept of the self and the concept of these power dynamics, now we have a new way that humor is bad, like in a negative sense, like not just disruptive now, but it's actually funny to hurt your enemies. So it goes to a kind
Hmm.
of gross place or to belittle someone who is already belittled by their social class or status. So you get into the more despicable forms of sort of sadistic humor here as well, which it's hard to draw that line where it is sadistic versus I'm laughing with you, I'm laughing at you. I would laugh at myself for this, versus like I literally am just taking a childish pleasure in your suffering because I don't have to feel it and I feel safe from that suffering by watching you suffer. I mean, it's really sick in that sense, you know.
But well, I
You
mean,
think
back to
about the
babies, they like
chuckling.
the peekaboo part. Yeah, you got that. But then like
Yeah.
if you like hit yourself in your head, like
Oh yeah.
and they're like just going nuts.
It'd be so funny if dad just jumped out the window of this building. That'd
Yeah.
be hilarious. So it's yeah, there's a kind of grossness to it, which unfortunately makes it even more funny. It's like
Hmm.
it's an endless spiral. And I've always kind of taken a certain like horror in the idea of people finding suffering funny, and that would be like a motivator for causing suffering.
Oh, it does exist.
It
It's just not
exists.
to an extreme view that it would be world altering. But I mean, I love watching kids fall off bikes.
Oh God. I
Watch kids
like
fall off
farting. I
bikes all
like
day.
farting in their face, and then if they say anything, I accuse them of stealing and run away.
As an adult, you're running away from a child's
Yeah, where'd you get that
situation.
pack of gum? And then I just like pulled. No, I've only done that to the very, very most disruptive of kids, I promise you. But yeah, you're just standing there and they're being a prick and their parents can't control them and they're, and then you just pass gas because, I was standing here and your face was right there and they get it right in the eyes, right up their nose, like, and they shut up and they like think about their life for a second and their hatred is directed at me, who's the stranger, so it's perfectly safe. And then I accuse them of stealing and leave. We had gotten up to about stage 4 Amber meme. We're suggesting maybe here the comedy has to do with social appropriateness more than anything. We're understanding ourselves not to just be a member of our little clan, our group of people, our family, our friends, and we're starting to understand ourselves to be a part of this whole like culture, this whole
Global
social
system.
system.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to be a good student or a good church person or to actually fulfill your parents' expectations, sort of thing. And so the kind of disruption of that is somebody showing up to church with the crazy haircut or
Mhm.
something just socially inappropriate in a highly serious situation, perhaps even a religious situation. being indecent. I think as we're kind of starting to move towards orange meme and we're more focused on class and material things, it becomes a sort of like laughing at trashiness or laughing at a lack of social acumen, social ineptitude.
It
Um,
becomes a bit of us and them humor. It's funny
yeah,
because it's not us.
true. Yeah. The other laughing at, yeah, like the other political party, the other religion, we're laughing at them. And it's not like funny. So again, there's the mean part of it. Humor, it seems to be having a mean aspect at every level as well. Health, healthy and unhealthy, mean and clean versions of
Well,
humor.
I'm a king. Well, I already knew that because you don't have shit all over you.
Holy Grail nails every level of humor. Stage five, we were looking a little bit more at like trailer park humor, like laughing at how stupid someone is, how irrational
Trailer
someone
Park Boys,
is.
yeah.
People
Dumb
who just
people, poor people, inept
Poor people.
people.
People who fight a lot, even just like people who are like criminals all the time, like always getting into trouble. I said like Beavis and Butthead, Dumb and Dumber, just dumbness is actually really funny. Just like you're watching, you see the logic and they don't is funny.
Hmm.
So that's kind of your amber and orange levels of comedy. We had mentioned the kind of fool character as being there's levels to the fool. If they're
Yeah.
like a member of your pack that just keeps everybody moralized in the hunt, that's the early fool. Around stage four, it becomes an actual role in the court, we were pointing out. And in
Yeah,
stage
yeah, yeah.
five, it becomes like a profession. You can be a comedian or someone who does shows, a minstrel, something like that, where it's your actual job. And you had pointed out too, like the military actually has like entertainment built into it as well. Like the need to entertain dignitaries, political figures, and even military staff
Just
is,
keeping morale up
yeah,
keeps mutiny down. It
yeah,
keeps
we'll have
coups down.
music, and that goes all the way back too. But here you have professionals who like write and deliver comedy. So they begin to break down, the nature of jokes with the setup and the punchline. And Jerry Seinfeld's like a great like orange meme comedian. It's just like the most laughs I can get per words,
Hmm.
just straight up like every part of it is kind of turned into a package. You reliably, consistently come to the show. You're going to get joke, 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 joke. Going to be kind of funny to everyone. A little bit funny
The
to everyone.
the literal time between the beginning of the setup of the joke to the punchline is has to be relative to the level of laugh you get. If it's a really long joke, it better end in explosive laughter. If it's quick little one-liners, a chuckle's fine because there's another one coming.
It's just little jabs before the uppercut. So breaking it down as a science now and statistically, going into six now, green meme, definitely absurdity, irony, self-deprecation. It
Mhm.
becomes a lot bigger. Really understanding yourself well enough to make a farce or a parody of your own person, being like highbrow self-deprecation. Meta comedy, this whole thing where we just like, fuck this show we're doing. Guess what, guys? Like, Deadpool,
Break the fourth wall.
talk to the audience. That's, we're always saying the meta thing is green meme. The negative again with green meme, comedians, in recent times in green meme land are complaining that you can't do shows the same way and in the same places anymore. You can't do them at colleges and stuff. So what's up with that? Well, now we have political correctness and sensitivity dictating what is and isn't funny, regardless of whether it makes me laugh
You
when Andrew
shouldn't.
Dice
You
Clay,
shouldn't
yeah,
be laughing
yeah, you
socially.
shouldn't. Which makes it funnier every time. The badness
Yeah,
of it makes it funnier. Uh,
it's more
but
risque.
and I feel that like I laugh at racist jokes because they are funny to me. I can't help that, and so I do green meme. I cut that out. Don't laugh at that. It's not funny.
Mhm.
The darkest shit is funny. That like it sucks. I hate that stuff that's not supposed to be funny is the funniest stuff. So disruptive. Now let's squash the second tier together so we have time. Teal and turquoise. Second tier humor, bringing an understanding of levels into jokes. This is tough.
I would say that here is where true parody can come in. It'll exist on all levels, but being so accurate in a parody of someone or something that what your performance is isn't funny. What you're doing is just what the person you're parodying would do. It's funny because of the accuracy.
A little bit of what we're doing is kind of a second tier approach to humor theory, at least to look at it in terms of stages and what each stage kind of finds funny and finding humor in that. That could potentially be like a pretty pure form of second tier comedy. Whether it's funny, I guess, is pretty subjective. We've had some laughs about levels on our show.
I throw jabs in at all levels throughout the shows, usually in a derogatory, diminutive fashion for the laugh. I don't actually believe fill in the blank about fill in the blank level. It's just funny to say that green meme being so earthly is so into conservation that it costs more resource to do so. That's not that funny. But it's an observation of a different tier, which would make it second tier kind of by default.
I think you're nailing it here on a crude level. If you're caricaturizing levels, if you're
Hmm.
making, oh, those green meme, they're so silly, the altitudes themselves are kind of a joke, like, and when you see real people and real situations that fit to that model perfectly, it's like ridiculous.
It's kind of
Like that
funny.
it's so calculated. Like, oh my God, I'm just seeing like magenta and red and it's so pure. It's not even like through filters or anything. It's just like boom. That can be pretty funny. That's sad, tragic, funny, all of it at once in equal measure, expanding measure. Okay, moving into transcend. We've kind of identified feeling more and being less bothered. There's a characterization of the spiritual person as being very serious, but I think that in your relation to spiritual people, you find there are a lot of like humorous people and humorous moments, and there's a lot of just joy and laughter in that existence that a person might not have kind of suspected. The sort of mystic character is like this is a funny thing. Like this whole experience is funny. Like if you take psychedelics, you will often find yourself laughing uncontrollably
Hmm.
because the infinity thing is like hilarious in itself. It's so disrupt. We can't even comprehend reality right now that it's just so infinite and crazy. And that's just what is right now. That's pretty funny. Like the cosmic exegesis of just like sitting here doing nothing is just kind of intrinsically everything at once, sad, funny, amazing, banal, all at once.
A bit of a trigger warning here
Hmm.
before I say what I'm thinking. If you don't like to be disagreed with, skip forward about 20 seconds. Okay. All right, guys, now that you've stayed. The yogis that I believe in and feel that are actually in some sort of transcendental being are always smiling and laughing. They enjoy everything. The ones that I don't believe are the ones who sit and do yoga all day as if it's penance for something. They're
Hmm.
never happy. They're never smiling. In fact, a lot of the yoga they do is specifically to incite pain.
Hmm.
And
They're
along
stoic.
those, yeah, along those very same lines, the Dalai Lama,
Hmm.
sorry to everybody, seems like kind of a dick. Smiles, but isn't like a joker, isn't
Maybe a
like
little phony.
laughing. Well, not, I'm not even saying phony. I think he's so focused on being what they say they are
Hmm.
that they can't allow any cracks because if they were genuine, you'd see him as kind of a phony.
Yeah.
My own personal opinion. Trigger warning alert. Beep, beep, beep. I
Yeah.
please don't agree or disagree in the comments. Well, you can disagree all you like. Please
Yeah.
don't agree with me because I'm going to be the one who says it out loud. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree. The people that we're supposed to view as icons, I feel like the more phony they are, the less they show them their true selves. Like they don't allow any of that in. There's such a high level of professionalism that there's no way you're transcended from anything. You're actually stifling a lot of yourself for the public view, and I don't like that.
Yes. Yeah. Understood. Yeah. We definitely encourage your strong opinions. We welcome your strong opinions. We're not trying to change your mind. We're not
No,
trying to
no, no, no,
change one
no,
another's mind.
not at
And
all.
we're trying to start this conversation. It might be just a type thing that there's just sort of people who transcend into this really serious and sober place, and people who transcend into this really like, what the fuck? It's all a big joke. Wilbur is pretty funny guy. He's a goofy guy, and he
Hmm.
has very serious side, but it's he's a pretty funny guy. Unclear. That just might be like a personality thing that just
And
kind of
it's
comes
very
along with you.
personal for myself. I don't want to transcend to be a stoic dick.
You know, like
Why?
the signaling part of it too, the signaling or the need to signal a particular image of it, right? Like that's kind of part of
What's
it is like,
what's the appeal to me?
yeah.
You're going to be so diehard dedicated that you outwardly show no happiness. I don't want that. I'd rather be an idiot laughing.
This is again, the Stoic and the Epicurean and the middle way. I myself am definitely more the Epicurean type, and I've known much more Stoic types, and I've known Stoic types who are more funny and less funny. It's just a strange thing, right? I myself also trust humor. I trust it, and I find in the a miserable person is not a good role model, it would
Mm-mm.
seem. I
Yeah.
would think maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's childish. I don't know, but that's definitely where I'm at too. So we're definitely encouraging your expert opinions, your strong opinions. We don't know. We're just having a conversation.
Be yourself,
And be good. You guys remember
Mr.
E.T.? They're gonna make a
Mr.
new E.T. movie pretty soon.
Mr. TET pities the fool who doesn't phone
Oh,
home.
can we make Mr. T.E.T.? Not Mr. E.T., just Mr. T. E.T.
I saw like a photoshopped ET doll that was made into Mr. TET. And on the
Oh, that's
package of the
already
doll, it
exists.
said, "Yeah, I pity the fool who doesn't phone home."
Great job, guys. You
Yeah,
did it. I asked
nailed it.
for it. You delivered. We have Mr. TET. Well, we got through the levels, the altitudes of comedy, of humor. We tried. We made jokes at each level. Rowan Atkinson's theory of humor, things being the wrong size.
Hmm.
No, it's dumber than that. Things being too big,
Uh-huh.
things being too little, and things not being socially appropriate. That's humor.
Yes.
Oh God, remember in Saturday Night Live when they have the little tiny cell phones
Yeah, yeah. Will
and they're
Ferrell,
laughing, they just are laughing uncontrollably, like
they
out of
can't help it
character.
simply because the cell
This
phone
little
is
cell
so small. Little did they know that in the future they'd be bigger.
phone.
That my current phone, wherever it is bigger than
Yeah.
my flip phone was.
No, you imagine. Hello. Hang on. Oh, and they thought they would flip open too.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on.
Yes, hello. But I mean, a lot of them really are just like earbuds now too.
Yeah, they
Because
just don't
those
exist.
watches, yeah. Oh boy. So just kick it. Is this the first time anyone's ever done this in the world? I don't know. There might be two or three other things like this, but this is us on Think Me. We're making altitude levels of comedy. James, I gotta say, I've noticed whenever the switch is down is when we're not podcasting. Did you notice that? I noticed that.
No.
It's not your fault. It's
It's
not
just
that. I'm
just
not saying
it's
that.
just your influence that causes it. It's not
I'm
your
just
fault though.
noticing every time the switch been down, we've been taking a week or two off here.
Ooh,
So it, it
honey,
it is your fault. I'm not saying it's your
honey.
fault,
I'm not
but
saying
like
it's your fault.
I do
I'm just
blame
saying it's
you,
100% your influence.
and I am mad about it.
Yeah, I
And
am actually mad. I will
you are
cry later
you are responsible for
at
my
your 8 by 10 glossy sign
emotional
photo.
self-regulation. No, but what I'm really saying is it's good. It's good
You
to
need
be
an
here and do
outlet.
the show. I love it. I love it.
This is an outlet for you, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Again,
Yeah.
I do feel guilt that I thought about calling you every second of every day and never did to say, hey, it wasn't until you called and I was crossing like 54th Street in Maine that I was like, oh, fuck, it's right now.
Last week I called him at like 10 minutes after our start time. Like, dude, oh God, are you ready? He's like, I'm in New York right now. Like, what? Oh yeah, this is our day.
I completely forgot to tell you.
After I did it the week before. It's like our life's hard, man. There's so much shit going on. Crazy. I started I guess I'm playing in the Subway band again. Greg contacted me and we're working on material. So that might be another thing we can pull up
Do any
on.
of them still work at Subway?
No, he doesn't work at Subway
Okay.
anymore. And Tommy quit like the second week, so it's always been an actual duo, but that's a trade secret. The Subway that we worked at is now Flowers Dispensary. I saw that they were hiring yesterday. I went in there. So I
On
might
Brooks?
actually, yeah.
Where am I going to get my Subway now?
So that would be really funny if I worked at that same location and continued playing in the Subway band 25 years later. I got actual electro voice phenomena when I was running stages of storytelling. So there's like
In this house?
yeah, there's like a weird like sound that when I amplified it up, it sounded like it was saying, "Oh God." It was cool. And then there
I
was a weird pulse in my audio that didn't exist anywhere else. It was when I got like really freaked out and I was looking around and it was just like, "Doosh." Like there's a big like waveform. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I didn't do You can see that I don't do anything. It just happens.
solar flare.
Yeah, yeah, electrical. And
I
again, it's just you
really
get yourself in that state of mind.
and then you're there. I really like watching haunt ghost hunters shows and things.
Yeah, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like watching those for entertainment value. I don't believe any of it is real. But EVP
Yeah.
playbacks,
Yeah.
as long as they don't say beforehand, oh, listen to this. It sounds like they're saying, my name is Adam. And you don't look because it usually has a caption over the like
Yeah.
sound wave. You have no fucking idea what they're saying.
It's
Not
like
once have I looked away and guessed correctly what they said it's saying.
absolutely. You have to put the text on the screen. And even then, it's probably the case that like somebody over there just said something or like also if you have a wah-wah pedal, you know, like a lot of electronics that deal with audio might just pick up a rogue radio transmission
Mhm,
here and there.
mhm.
It's
Oh
a
yeah. Oh
thing.
yeah.
It happens. Yeah. The reason why like this one in particular, the EVP thing is so dumb to me is like there is high quality audio picked up everywhere all the time. This you can study this and see if there's ghosts in it. You
Yeah.
don't have to pick the bad footage of your crew in a house when you're expecting a ghost. Like that there's so much audio that you're literally just looking for voices in audio. It's ridiculous to look for it in a specific place.
And you're
Just
in that mindset, so you will find something.
it's like they could just leave their microphone for a month in this location and have it like sound triggered and they
Hmm.
could pick up EVPs and they would actually hear the dog barking outside and the door slamming and they would notice that that's what's causing all these sounds. It's pretty ridiculous to actually analyze the audio of that moment when you're like, is there anyone there? Dude, it just said I love you.
Yeah, you said that you had to like basically isolate the sound and crank it way the fuck up,
Yeah,
and it sounds like, oh God. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna cut out the rest of this audio and then increase the volume and then say, oh God, over it, and then
sounded
play it
like
back, and it says, oh God.
like if you put text on a screen and play any sound, you'll probably hear that fucking sound
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's a
exactly. That's what I'm getting at with those shows is they tell you what to hear and then you hear it.
I think we already talked about the audit audio illusion where it says a word and if it says on the screen Laurel, you hear Laurel. If it says Yanni, you hear Yanni, but it's the
Hmm.
same word. And
Yeah.
it's just because in the higher frequency you hear Yanni, in the lower frequency you hear Laurel. Kennedy, 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 swing, bada. When we were talking about the Switch, and my Switch is down, and I'm
Mm,
being public, you can see it in my face. You know it
mm,
about me
mm.
and James knew it. I think that the thing that you noticed, I noticed as well. You have that moment of like, uh, good game, good, nice. We had a good run,
Nice try.
and it is other people, and it's the way that I respond to and interact with other people. Definitely, it's like a pressure that is exerted at me to continue to be the pattern that I am. Oh man, yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. We'll see if that helps anything.
I'm trying to condition this out of my wife, and it's no
Yeah.
fault of hers. But she'll like, if her hand is on me, like on my shoulder, on my back, on my leg, whatever, she'll tap twice. Just like,
Uh-huh.
two taps. To
Okay.
me, that means like, hey, well, you tried. Like,
Mhm.
good game.
It's a consolation pat.
Yeah, two taps is rude.
But it as an affection, just a simple pat
Yeah,
down of,
yeah,
oh, it's my guy.
yeah. That's my guy right here.
But that to you is a consolation pat.
Two taps, not enough.
Okay.
One or three or more. That's I'm here for you. That's comforting. Two taps is like a consolation prize.
And you have to relearn how you're interpreting the taps.
No, I'll just change the taps.
Yeah, as a scientist. So James came up with the brilliant idea of asking ChatGPT, how would you tell a joke from each level of consciousness?
Hmm.
And it gave me 6 stages. This is the funny thing. It doesn't really do altitudes. I just specifically asked for Ken Wilber's altitudes.
It
And
typed in like, listen, I want
yeah,
altitudes from this theory
yeah.
of Ken Wilber, and it kicked back Studio Gimli. It was
Funny, but
close. It was close
and then it
enough
actually did do a joke from
for each
each
stage.
one.
Yeah, very very nice, Chat GPT. You've done it. Two taps.
So here's our integral joke. A philosopher, a scientist, and an artist walk into a bar. The bartender says, "What can I get you?" They all respond, "We'll have a glass of what the other's having."
Ah.
ChatGPT is essentially using lower level dad joke sort of humor,
Mhm.
question and answer humor, but the theming of it, the skin of it
The
is
facade of
the
the whole
level.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, is no one in this situation is going to get a drink. If we run this experiment again, or maybe even a peppermint, just ask for each individual by itself. You asked a big question, massive question, with a six
Yeah.
part answer you're asking for.
Yeah, could you give an example of the first 6 stages, one example of a joke for each level, and then it took the whole system and turned it into 6 stages instead of taking the
Right.
first six? Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, cute.
It got me on the yogi joke
Let's
for
do it.
the anticipation of the
So
audience.
this is stage, this is the transcendent stage, which would kind of correspond to maybe stage 9, indigo. Joke. Why did the yogi refuse to vacuum his house?
Why is
Be-
that?
because he wanted to let the attachments go. Attachments. Okay. The joke uses
Yeah, you
spiritual
still didn't
humor.
laugh.
This
Okay,
one's
all right.
it made me laugh like a minute later too.
It's
It's
so
just
dumb.
sucks. It sucks. So it's red meme in that you were laughing at how janky it is, but it does
It's
use
it's 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 so basic and so dumb that when you're thinking of it at a higher level, it doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. You have to lower your expectations
Ugh.
to like the physical attachments on a goddamn vacuum machine. Hilarious.
Yes.
Lowbrow, high level humor. Got it.
And
Chat GPT, chef's kiss.
I had shot back with the classic Buddhist monk goes to a hot dog stand and says, "Make me one with everything." Same deal. Same deal.
Same, same.
It's a dad joke with dressing. Okay.